The clock had just struck midnight, ringing in the new year. The streets of the small English town were alive with celebration, laughter echoing off the buildings. Amidst this festive atmosphere, Rachel Moran, a vibrant young woman with dreams as wide as her smile, was making her way home. The air was crisp, the night sky glittering with fireworks, but Rachel's mind was elsewhere. She had spent the evening in a crowded bar, her brother by her side, immersed in the revelry that came with the beginning of a new year. As she walked, the shadows seemed to dance around her, the streetlights casting an eerie glow on the path. With only 150 meters to go before she reached the safety of her apartment, she suddenly disappeared into the night. It was as if the earth had swallowed her up, leaving no trace but the faint echo of her laughter in the air. Her absence was a quiet void in the noisy jubilation of the night. The town, oblivious to the tragedy unfolding, continued its celebration, unaware that one of their own had vanished into the thin, cold air. In the quiet of her empty apartment, 2 kittens mooled, waiting for a return that would never come. The stage was set for a mystery that would soon grip the entire town, a disappearance that defied explanation and sparked a desperate search for truth. The story of Rachel Moran had begun, a tale shrouded in mystery, its chapters yet unwritten. In the heart of England, on the 17th of January, 1981, a star was born into the Moran family. Rachel, the youngest of 4 siblings, was a beacon of joy from her earliest days. Her laughter filled the rooms of their modest home in the town of Call, where she grew up surrounded by the affectionate chaos of 2 sisters and a brother. Rachel's life was a tapestry woven with vibrant threads of music and dance. From the tender age of 6, she was mesmerized by the grace of ballet dancers she saw on TV, their movements a fluid dance of beauty and strength. This fascination soon turned into a passion, with Rachel spending countless hours practicing her every step, and twirl a testament to her dedication. School for Rachel was not just about textbooks and exams. It was a stage where she shone brightly, her intelligence and work ethic earning her top grades and admiration from both teachers and peers. The corridors echoed with her laughter, her presence like a burst of sunshine on a cloudy day. After graduating, Rachel pursued information technology at a local college, her mind as nimble with algorithms and codes as her feet were with dance steps. But her heart remained true to her first love, dance. Eventually, she shifted her focus, dedicating herself to mastering the art that had always set her soul alight. In this whirlwind of dreams and aspirations, Rachel met Mark, a young man whose quiet strength and understanding nature caught her heart. They quickly became inseparable, their love a melody that harmonized perfectly with the rhythm of her life. They decided to start a life together, moving into a quiet apartment in a peaceful neighborhood, a little world of their own making. Rachel's life was a symphony of dreams and love, each day a new note in the melody that was uniquely hers. But as the end of the year 2002 approached, little did anyone know that this melody would soon be disrupted by a chilling silence. Rachel and Mark's relationship blossomed like a rare flower in spring. Their connection was deep and genuine, a bond that seemed unbreakable. They complemented each other perfectly, Rachel with her vibrant energy, and Mark with his calm and supportive demeanor. It wasn't long before they decided to take their relationship to the next level by moving in together. They found a quaint apartment in a serene residential area, a place that radiated warmth and comfort. It was a significant step, a testament to their commitment and love. The apartment, though modest, was filled with laughter, shared dreams, and an abundance of love. It was their sanctuary, a little haven away from the rest of the world. This new chapter in their lives was marked by the usual trials and joys of young love. They learned to navigate the intricacies of living together, from deciding on decor to managing household chores. Their evenings were often spent curled up on the sofa, sharing stories of their day, their laughter echoing off the walls. One of the most significant decisions they made was to adopt 2 adorable kittens. The little furballs brought even more joy into their lives. Rachel, with her nurturing heart, cared for them with all the love she could muster. The kittens were more than pets. They were like their little family, completing the picture of domestic bliss. The couple's life was a harmonious blend of shared responsibilities and mutual respect. Mark and Rachel always ensured that one of them was at home with the kittens, their lives now revolving around these tiny creatures that had become a significant part of their world. As the end of the year approached, they began making plans for New Year's Eve. Mark was to visit his parents and return home later, while Rachel planned to spend the evening at a local bar with her brother, celebrating the incoming year. It was a plan simple in its intent, but one that would unknowingly set the stage for a sequence of events that would alter their lives forever. December 31st dawned, a day like any other in the small town of Call. But as night fell, a festive spirit enveloped the streets, homes glittering with lights, laughter and music spilling out into the cold air. Rachel, in high spirits, prepared for the evening's celebration. She was a vision of joy, her anticipation for the new year palpable. Mark left early to visit his parents, sticking to their plan. Rachel, after ensuring the kittens were well cared for, set out to join her brother at the local bar. The night was alive with possibilities, the air crackling with the excitement of endings and new beginnings. The bar was a hub of cheer and camaraderie. Rachel and her brother were soon joined by friends, old and new. Together, they toasted to the future, their laughter mingling with the clinks of glasses and the festive music. As the clock neared midnight, they counted down the seconds, their voices joining the chorus of the town as they welcomed the new year. After the celebrations, around 1:20 a.m., Rachel and her brother decided to head to their parents' home. The streets were quieter now, the revelry dying down as people retreated into their homes. Rachel, feeling the night's chill, wrapped her coat tighter around her. Before retiring for the night at her parents' house, Rachel felt a tug of concern for her kittens, left alone longer than expected due to Mark's absence. She decided to call him, hoping to hear that he was on his way home. However, Mark didn't answer the home phone. Concerned, Rachel tried his mobile, and this time he picked up, casually mentioning that he was at a party. Rachel's heart sank. Mark had disregarded their plan, leaving their kittens alone all night. This breach of trust and concern for their pets spurred a decision. Despite the late hour and her mother's protests, Rachel insisted on walking back to her apartment. It was only a kilometer away, she reasoned, a distance she had traversed countless times. But this night was different. As she stepped out into the cold, leaving the warmth of her parents' home behind, the darkness seemed to loom larger, more ominous. Her steps were quick and determined, the echoes of her footsteps a lonely sound in the quiet streets. Little did she know, as she promised her worried mother to call upon reaching home, that this walk under the starlit sky would be her last. The darkness of the night was about to engulf her, turning her path home into a journey into the unknown. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, an uneasy silence settled in the Moran household. Rachel, who had left her parents' home in the dead of night, had not called to confirm her safe arrival, contrary to her promise. This uncharacteristic breach of word sent a ripple of worry through her mother's heart. The morning sun rose higher, casting its light on a day that seemed increasingly ominous. Rachel's mother tried calling her repeatedly, first dialing her mobile and then the landline at the apartment. Each call echoed into the void, met only with the cold, indifferent ringing of an unanswered phone. The absence of Rachel's voice, usually so quick to reassure, turned the air heavy with foreboding. Mark, still unaware of the night's unsettling turn, was unreachable, deepening the concern. Rachel's mother grappled with the possibilities. Had Rachel made an impromptu decision to join Mark at the party? Was she simply too tired or distracted to answer her phone? Yet, none of these scenarios sat right with the image of her conscientious daughter. As hours ticked by, the unease transformed into a tangible fear. Rachel's elder sister, equally troubled by the silence, tried reaching her too, but to no avail. The family's worry crescendoed into panic, their minds racing with grim possibilities. By mid-morning, the reality that something was terribly wrong began to sink in. Rachel, the light of their family, A young woman full of life and dreams had vanished into the night. Her family, once wrapped in the comfort of everyday routines, found themselves catapulted into a nightmare, their world tilting on its axis. The decision to involve the police was made with heavy hearts. The officers, upon hearing the circumstances, decided to forego the usual waiting period for missing adults. They understood the gravity of the situation. A young woman, missing since New Year's Eve, with no word or trace. Thus began the largest investigation the town of Call had ever seen. A network of officers was mobilized, their mission clear but daunting, to uncover the fate of Rachel Moran, whose disappearance in the early hours of the new year had left a void in the heart of a family and a mystery at the doorstep of a community. 2 weeks into Rachel's disappearance, the town of Call was gripped by a tense, uneasy atmosphere. The police had scoured the town, interviewing friends, family, and acquaintances, yet Rachel remained a ghost, her fate shrouded in mystery. The once vibrant young woman had seemingly vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of questions and a town cloaked in worry. Then, a breakthrough pierced the thick fog of uncertainty. In the murky depths of a nearby canal, a discovery sent shivers down the spine of the community. Rachel's boot, caked in mud and water, was found half submerged, a silent testament to a night gone horribly wrong. The find was ominous, a harbinger of darker revelations to come. The following day, as the search intensified along the canal, another chilling discovery was made. Hidden amongst the reeds and refuse, a trash bag was pulled from the water, heavy with its sorrowful contents. Inside lay Rachel's belongings, her purse, cosmetics, phone, and most heartbreakingly, her passport. Each item, once a part of her daily life, now floated as relics of a life interrupted. These grim findings shifted the tone of the investigation. What was once a search for a missing person took on a darker hue, the fear that Rachel might no longer be alive. The Moran family, clinging to hope amidst the despair, faced the grim possibility that their beloved Rachel had met a tragic end. The police, now more determined than ever, intensified their efforts. The canal became the focal point of the investigation, its waters hiding secrets that were desperate to surface. The town, once buzzing with New Year celebrations, now echoed with the somber rhythm of police boats and divers, their searches painting a bleak picture. Each day brought more questions than answers, and the murky waters of the canal seemed to hold onto its secrets with a cold, unforgiving grip. The community of Call, united in their concern, watched and waited, the weight of the unknown pressing heavily upon their hearts. The story of Rachel Moran, so full of life and dreams, had taken a dark turn, leading investigators and loved ones through the shadows in search of elusive truths. The days following the discovery in the canal were marked by an intensified search that radiated outwards from the water's edge. Rachel's last known steps were retraced, every alley and street scrutinized under the watchful eyes of the investigators. The police, their resolve steeling against the creeping despair, left no stone unturned. Surveillance cameras throughout the town were checked, their footage combed for any sign of Rachel. It was a painstaking process, sifting through hours of recordings, looking for that one clue that might shed light on her whereabouts. Then, a small yet significant piece of the puzzle emerged. A grainy image from a camera, positioned a mere few hundred meters from Rachel's apartment complex, captured her figure walking alone in the dead of night. The timestamp confirmed it was after she had left her parents' house. This footage was a critical piece of evidence. It confirmed that Rachel had indeed been heading home, dispelling any theories of her voluntarily disappearing. The focus of the investigation shifted to this new area, where the last visual of Rachel was recorded. The police, along with canine units and search teams, fanned out, scouring the neighborhood. They knocked on doors, asking residents for any information they might have, no matter how insignificant it seemed. Helicopters whirred overhead, their searchlights piercing the darkness, while officers on the ground combed through fields and alleys. They were a relentless force, driven by the hope of finding Rachel, or at least unraveling the mystery of her disappearance. The search teams also began draining nearby streams and artificial canals, a grim task undertaken with the hope of uncovering further evidence. Each day was filled with the tension of what they might find, the community holding its breath as the search unfolded. As the investigation pressed on, the police were met with silence and dead ends. The trail seemed to grow colder with each passing day, yet they persevered, fueled by the determination to bring closure to a family in agony and to a town shaken by one of its own vanishing into the night. Rachel's disappearance had morphed from a local news item into a haunting tale that gripped the town of Call. The once vibrant and joyful young woman had become the central figure in a mystery that was as deep and as dark as the waters that now held some of her last known traces. The search for Rachel Moran, now a relentless endeavor, had the town of Call wrapped in a blanket of suspense and sorrow. The police, along with volunteers, continued their exhaustive efforts, their hope dwindling but not extinguished. It was during this heightened state of search that a shocking discovery shattered the remnants of hope. In a quiet, overlooked section of the canal, close to Rachel's apartment, the search teams made a heart-wrenching find. Partially buried under layers of silt and debris, they uncovered a human foot, unmistakably belonging to a woman. The grim discovery sent a wave of horror through the search party and the town. The canal was drained further, revealing its macabre secret in full. There, entangled in the mud and weeds, lay the remains of Rachel Moran. The vibrant young woman, once full of dreams and laughter, was reduced to a silent figure, her life's melody cruelly cut short. The Moran family, confronted with their worst fears, were engulfed in a grief so profound it echoed through the community. The discovery not only brought a tragic end to the search, but also marked the beginning of a quest for justice. The police, now dealing with a homicide, intensified their efforts to unravel the circumstances leading to Rachel's untimely demise. The entire town reeled from the shock. The canals, once mundane features of the landscape, had become the scene of a tragedy that would forever mark the town's history. Rachel's story, which began as a missing persons case, had turned into a somber tale of loss and unspoken horrors. As the investigation delved into this new grim chapter, questions arose that demanded answers. Who was responsible for the fate that befell Rachel? What chain of events led to such a tragic conclusion? The answers to these questions lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered by the determined efforts of those seeking justice for Rachel Moran. In the wake of the tragic discovery, the town of Call was cloaked in a pall of grief and disbelief. The police, now more determined than ever, pursued every lead with renewed vigor. Their investigation led them to a suspect who would unravel the mystery surrounding Rachel's fate, Michael Little, a 23-year-old local resident. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During an exhaustive search of every residence within a 2-kilometer radius of where Rachel was last seen, the police knocked on Michael's door. He lived just a few streets away from Rachel, in an unassuming apartment that held a dark secret. In the course of their search, the police discovered a locked closet in Michael's apartment. Upon insistence and a search warrant, they opened it to reveal a horrifying sight. Amongst clutter and trash, they found Rachel's body wrapped in a blanket, hidden away as if to erase her existence. Michael, along with a friend who was present at the time, was immediately arrested. The town, already reeling from Rachel's death, was further shocked by the identity of the suspect, a familiar face to many, now cast in a monstrous light. In the interrogation room, the truth came pouring out. Michael confessed to the crime in a chilling recount of that fateful night. He admitted to encountering Rachel as she walked home and luring her to his apartment under false pretenses. What transpired next was a series of events that culminated in a violent altercation, resulting in Rachel's tragic death. The confession sent ripples through the community, a mix of relief at knowing the truth and horror at its grim nature. The Moran family, while grappling with the unbearable loss, found a cold solace in the knowledge that justice might be served. As the case moved to trial, the town of Call followed every development, united in their support for Rachel's family. Michael Little, once an unnoticed resident, had become the focal point of a narrative that spoke of betrayal, violence, and the loss of an innocent life. Rachel's story, marked by a tragic end, had brought to light the hidden dangers that lurk in the shadows of everyday life. Her loss was not just a personal tragedy for her family, but a stark reminder to the entire community of the fragility of life and the presence of evil in the most unsuspecting places. The trial of Michael Little for the murder of Rachel Moran was a somber affair that gripped the town of Call. The courtroom became the stage for a drama that no one wished to witness, yet from which they could not turn away. The evidence presented was overwhelming, each piece adding to a tapestry of tragedy. Michael's confession, while initially clear, took a twisted turn during the trial. He retracted his earlier statements, weaving a tale of denial and deception. He attempted to shift the blame, casting aspersions on others, including Rachel's boyfriend, Mark. However, the evidence spoke louder than his changing stories. The truth, as it often does, found its way through the maze of lies. The jury, faced with the weight of this truth, delivered their verdict. Michael Little was found guilty of murder, a decision that brought a somber closure to the case. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after 25 years, a sentence that spoke of justice, but could never compensate for the life so brutally taken. Rachel's death left an indelible mark on the town of Call. Her story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present shadow of unpredictability. The vibrant young woman who had once danced through the streets of Call would dance no more, but her memory pirouetted in the minds of those she left behind. For the Moran family, the trial's conclusion was a bittersweet moment. Though justice was served, it did little to fill the void left by Rachel's absence. Her mother, father, siblings, and Mark found themselves navigating a world that was dimmer without her light. In the years that followed, Rachel's memory was honored in various ways by the community. A scholarship was established in her name at the local college, supporting young women who shared her passion for dance and technology. Her love for animals was commemorated through contributions to animal shelters. The kittens Rachel had so adored were taken in by her brother, a daily reminder of the sister he had lost. They, like the rest of Rachel's family and friends, were living testaments to her love and spirit. As time passed, the town of Call slowly returned to its usual rhythm. But for those who knew Rachel Moran, the echoes of her laughter, the grace of her dance, and the brightness of her smile remained imprinted in their hearts. Her life, though tragically cut short, continued to inspire and influence, a legacy of love and vivacity that defied even death itself.